Everybody, it's Chad with Nobody Else's Auto. It is 7 o'clock Sunday evening, December 6th. Time for Sunday Night Live Chat. Since we are on live, we will give everybody a few seconds to jump on with us, and then we will get rolling into the chat here shortly. All right, we've got a few people starting to get on with us. As always, we are on two formats tonight live. We are on YouTube as well as Facebook. So if you see me glancing over at the other monitor, that's what I'm doing, is trying to keep up with comments on both computers. So as always, if you have questions, comments, throw them up there. We'll sure try to get to them. And sometimes if I don't have the answer, sometimes some of our other viewers do. Some of our other viewers can help out some of our other viewers sometimes. So that's what's fun about it. We got Dan from Defiance on YouTube. So we've got comments working on YouTube. And we got our buddy Johnny Nitro on Facebook with us. So glad he's on with us. So we've got comments working on there as well. As usual, I try to keep up with the comments best we can. If I don't acknowledge you, especially if you've got a specific question about vehicles, it's probably because I didn't see it. I try to catch all the highs and glad to be here. I try to catch those as well. Just sometimes they get coming in pretty quick, and they're hard to keep up with. Dwight in Ohio, got James on YouTube. Bunch of people jumping on with us on Facebook. James is on from Texas. Jason, short box for 67 Chevy pickup. Depends on which one you need, Jason. On the short bed for the 67. Got Chris on with us on YouTube. On YouTube. So lots of people jumping on with us. Thanks for being here. Dash for 65 Le Mans, Eric. Depends on what you mean by dash. I don't know if you need a dash structure, a dash cluster. Dash is a pretty generic term. So best thing to do when we get done, give me a call, and we can go over exactly what you need for your project, and I can sure get you on my list. I do have some 65 Pontiac A-bodies in stock, so it just depends on what you need by dash. Connecticut just jumped on with us on Facebook. So we'll try to keep up with those comments as we get rolling through here. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate everybody coming by and hanging out with us again tonight. Having a lot of fun on here. We've got a great group that's been jumping on with us on Sunday nights. Dash cluster on the 65. There again, I've got standard clusters. I don't have any gauge or tack clusters, so it depends on which one you need on that as well. So that's what I said. So sometimes to get into the specifics, sometimes it's better to have that conversation. Fleet side for 67 Chevy pickup. I think that was the bed question. Nothing on a fleet side. Those are just about hen's teeth. I could sell probably 2 of those a week if I could get 67 to 72 fleet side bed for Chevys. 72 Ventura rear bumper, nothing there. We've got Iowa on. 56 Ford seat Cruise. I have cores on those, on ones that can be restored. So I should still have seats for the 56 F100. Good solid frames. So anyway, 67 LTD 390 with Air, James, nothing like that at all. I've got 167 Tudor hardtop parts car in stock is all I've got at 67 Ford, but no good 67 LTDs. Anyway, tonight, and as always, as we're talking along, I always try to keep up with questions or comments, so go ahead and throw them up as we're chatting, and I will try to keep an eye on them. Last week we talked about a little bit that kind of how I operate. I don't operate as a scrapyard, and it kind of amazes me the amount of people that think that's what it is. And it was right after we got off, like the next day, there were some comments on a YouTube video. I can't believe that ended up in a scrapyard. But that's what, I'm not a scrapyard. I don't buy copper. I don't buy brass. I don't buy aluminum. I don't have a scale. I don't do any of that stuff. It would just amaze me. We had some comments like that pop up right after that. Cruz, I'm in Great Bend, Kansas. Price, you'll just have to give me a call because there's some variation on that. So we'll need to discuss that as well. And actually, some of my pricing structure we're going to get into tonight as well. Let's see. Intake manifold for a 292 4-barrel. I don't think I've got any of those that are 4-barrels, Cruz, on that. So I think all the Y blocks in that area I've got are just the basic 2-barrels. But I'm not a scrapyard. I don't buy scrap metals. I buy cars, and I buy primarily collector cars. I do end up with some newer stuff. just because the facility I own used to be a regular late model salvage yard, but it was never an actual scrap yard for metal. So I end up with a little bit of later model stuff that I don't want. And I typically use that to trade to scrap guys for old cars. So, the quote unquote scrap newer cars that I just get traded for, to guys that may have found something that's decent who are scrap guys. And then I can just trade them some of my weight for old cars. So that's kind of how, I do it. And it was just kind of funny that I seen some of those comments pop up right away again after we got off. But that's not how I operate this deal. That's not what it's meant to be, and that's not what it's here for. I wouldn't have all these old cars put together in 10 years just by waiting for them to come across the scales. So anyway, just found that kind of amusing after we got done talking about that. I seen a few more of them pop up, but let's see. Oh, Grant's on with us. Grant needs some Mustang parts for some that he saw while he was out here. So yeah, anytime, Grant, you know where I'm at. We can sure get that stuff rounded up for you. My buddy Grant Tommy, Straight Six fan on YouTube. He keeps me lined out on a lot of this stuff. So always glad when he's got a minute to jump on with us. He keeps me lined out on gear and the technical side of this stuff because I'm not that good at it. He is. So he keeps me in line on that, and I always appreciate his help there. So tonight's kind of topic to get into that I was going to talk to you guys about is pricing, how I price things and things like that. Yeah, we got Jason on with us. Glad to have Jason back, our over-the-road trucker. And actually, since Jason's on with us, let's get his OTR report if he's got a minute. Jason usually pops on with us, tells us where he's been that week, and he always lets us know if he found some cool old iron out there on the road. So, yeah, my buddy Johnny Nitro. Yeah, you want to buy some copper, aluminum, scrap? No, that's all right. Don't even want to mess with it. And that stuff's getting so touchy anymore as far as because of all the thefts that even buy copper and brass, you've got to have driver's license and all kinds of information to even take it, and it's just not even worth the hassle for me. So don't even want anything to do with it. So, but anyway, we'll see if Jason's got anything cool to tell us about this week. Jason Sharp is an over-the-road trucker who jumps on with us on a pretty regular basis, and if he always sees some cool stuff, he lets us know about it, and we put the tips out there in case we've got somebody in those areas that of something that Jason saw. So if he's got anything cool to report, we'll get that out here in a minute. But anyway, as far as pricing varies a lot on everything I have. I mean, obviously, most of what I've got is not off-the-shelf stuff. And obviously, condition, rarity, demand, all that stuff plays into my pricing structure. But where I run into issues with a lot of people and a lot of things people don't understand is the time it takes to do some of this stuff. And that's where, a lot of people think I price the stuff too high sometimes until I start explaining to them the amount of work it takes to do something. So that goes into the equation when I price something as well. Jason's been home for Thanksgiving, so nothing good to report from no good OTR report this week. So we'll see if Jason sees anything cool next week that he can let us in on. So thanks for being on tonight, Jason. The other thing that goes in, the time it takes to do something, like if somebody wants a quarter panel cut off of a car, you basically have to gut the car. You can use a Sawzall on some of the skin and things like that, but if you get into some structure, you've got to use a torch or a grinder. You can't have any interior in the car, so you've got to gut the interior. You've got to pull half the glass. You've got to pull the trunk lid, rear bumper, everything off the back of the car, then cut it apart. Then you've got to palletize it to ship it. The time is as much or more so than the part, because you can end up with a full day's worth of work in something like that. So I got my good buddy Robert on. Thanks for being here, Robert. Another thing Johnny Nitro pointed out is a lot of theft going on with catalytic converters out there now too. So that's something else everybody's got to be careful about. But the time that goes into this stuff as far as pulling parts, shipping parts, that all factors into what I can or can't price something at. And the same thing goes with vehicles. If I've got somebody wants to buy a vehicle and they can't come pick it up, which means they're going to have a transporter pick it up. That means I have to make sure that it's rolling, ready to load, and then I've got to be available to meet that transport whenever the transport shows up. And sometimes that's 10 o'clock at night. And that's something else that gets into a lot of time and a lot of effort on my part. Got Jess on. Thanks for being here, Jess. Any 67 Galaxy 500s. We just talked about that, actually, Navy. I've got 167 Galaxy two-door hardtop parts car in stock. But when you get into vehicles and you're dealing with transporters, that's the things a lot of people don't think about. I had a transporter show up here a couple months ago to get a car, and I had to unload 2 John Deere riding lawnmowers. Then I had to load this car. Then I had to reload the riding lawnmowers for him. Then he had to tie the whole thing down. I was out there for 2 hours, literally, for a 10-minute load. I mean, I had the car loaded in 10 minutes, but by the time I reloaded everything he had to load, because those transporters are trying to get as much as they can on every load to make a buck doing it, and I understand that. But that has to be factored in what I can or can't sell something for when I'm dealing with that. If somebody says, hey, I'm going to send you a deposit, I'm coming to pick it up myself, not going to be any big deal, going to be a real simple deal to load, that plays into it as well. Any trim left on the 67? There is some. If you want to give me a shout when we get done, Navy, and give me a list of which pieces you need, you can, I'll sure check that car, see if we've got anything. So that's what I got to weigh into that. I shipped 4 trucks to Poland a year and a half ago, and 2 months ago I get a call from them, and customs lost half the paperwork. So that means I have to go back through my files, pull out all the copies that I made from when I shipped the trucks. And then, of course, copies weren't acceptable. So I had to go through and rewrite all the paperwork and send it all over to Poland. And so there again, it took not a huge deal, but it took another hour out of my day, to finish up a deal from a year and a half ago because of what has to happen in some of these to take care of. So that's something that has to factor into all that. The guy that says, "Oh, I need a fender and a door. I'm going to send you a check, and I'm coming through your area in 2 weeks, and you're going to throw them in the back of my pickup, and I don't have to package them. I don't have to deal with shipping them. I don't have to deal with putting them in a box. I don't have to deal with doing labels. I don't have to deal with getting them on a FedEx truck. That's always saves me time. That saves you money. So that's something that a lot of people don't think about from my, when I look at what I do. And then, like my buddy Robert just brought up as well, shipping supplies. I get boxes from 2 or 3 local body shops on a regular basis. I have to buy tape. I have to buy knives. All that is expense that factors into it. And like I said, a ton of time. I typically ship 20, 30 packages a week. So that's a lot of time out of a week as far as getting shipments ready to go. So the more time you save me on things that are picked up and I don't have to deal with transporters and things like that, saves me money, saves me time, saves you money. But obviously with the logistics involved with what I do and shipping stuff all over, that isn't always possible. But that factors into my prices. So I just want, it's just a clarity deal, something I thought we could talk about and bring up tonight and kind of go over. Let's see. Navy on the 67 Galaxy bought his car off of eBay, New York to Boulder, Colorado, and it was a nightmare. Yeah, it's a lot of work getting all that stuff handled. And like I said, from my end, I have to factor that in. That last deal when I got done, had to reload those John Deere lawnmowers and everything. That transport didn't even get here till 7 o'clock at night. So I had to go out there at 7 o'clock and then was out there for 2 hours dealing with it till he was ready, till he got out of the gate and got back on the road. So got my good buddy Mike Shook on from Russell with Auto Artistry. Actually went over and got a load of parts from him this week. We did some trading around and stuff. So got a bunch of new inventory that I got from Mike that we're going to have on a video coming up as well. But always be sure to check out the cool builds that he's got going on at autoartistry.com or Auto Artistry on Facebook. Had a really cool 62 Thunderbird, I think, in there the other day, and a 35 or 36 International pickup. So some neat projects going on over there as well. So that's all that stuff factors into what I do. Just like my buddy Robert said, Robert sells a lot of hubcaps. And he's also got the Hubcap Collectors of the U.S. page on Facebook. So if you ever have a question about hubcaps, be sure to check out Robert's Hubcap Collector page. But there again, the process of sending pictures, getting things ready for pictures, sending pictures to people, all takes time. All has to be factored into what I do. 67 to 72 short bed Chevy rollers. No, nothing there at all on good 67 to 72 short bed Chevy projects. So double check all the comments. But and as always, if you've got any questions, you can always give me a call after we get done, and be more than happy to talk to any of you guys in detail about some of this stuff. But that's what a lot of guys get sticker shock, especially on big stuff, when they call me on it. But that's why all that stuff gets factored in. And it's if you need a quarter panel cut off, that's a little different than popping a trunk lid open, spinning 4 bolts off, pulling a tail light out, throwing it in a box, and shipping it. That's 10 or 15 minutes versus a day's worth of labor. So that all plays into that. And then you also got to look at how many of those small parts can I do in the same amount of time as cutting a quarter panel off in a full day's worth of work. So that's all plays into that. Mazda RX series, Tony. I don't do any Asian stuff at all. I don't keep any Toyotas, Hondas, Nissans, any of that stuff. I've got one 280Z out back that came in with some other stuff. Other than that, I don't keep any of that type of stuff around at all. That's the stuff that gets traded off for other old iron is basically what happens to that stuff. I got our good friend Glenn on from Minnesota. Glenn's one of our regulars. James is on with us on YouTube. He's had a lot of vehicles shipped all over, and like I said, every time it's a different situation every time, different pricing, different difficulties, and that's right. And along with that, while we're kind of on the subject, something else to think about as far as shipping vehicles, and I deal with a lot of that both on what I sell and then a lot of what we sell with the F&E Collector Auto Auction with our proxy bid format on the auction. You get what you pay for when it comes to transporters. Just remember that if you're ever shipping a car and you look and you look and you look till you find somebody that's $150 cheaper than the other guy, you're probably going to get what you pay for. I've dealt with enough of them over the years that you're better off spending a couple of $100 more and getting somebody who knows what they're doing and is going to be professional about it. It's one of those deals. You can always find somebody cheaper. If you look hard enough, you're going to find somebody cheaper. But typically when you get down to where you just get to the cheapest possible thing you can find, those are the guys that don't show up on time, may or may not have tie downs. The other thing that we've been running into on transporters, and I've got a broker that I work with. I've got a lady that I send about everybody to, and she helps a lot of people set up stuff that I sell, and she does some of the auction stuff for us as well. Part of her brokerage fee is not only does she help line it up, but she also checks the drivers and the companies. And what she's been finding over the last several years is a lot of them do not have commercial carrier insurance. There's a lot of hot shots out there that are buying a truck and a two or three car trailer and becoming a quote unquote transporter, but they don't have carrier insurance. So that may be one of those guys. They're $200 cheaper than anybody else, but DOT pulls them over in the middle of nowhere at 2 o'clock in the morning because they've got a trailer light out and they don't have commercial carrier insurance. Your car's sitting in the middle of nowhere on the side of the road until they get all that lined out. Now, how long is that going to be? Are they going to tow your car? Is that whole trailer going to end up in an impound lot somewhere in Montana? Who knows? So the transporters, you get what you pay for. You're better off spending a few extra bucks. Like I said, I deal with a ton of them, and there's definitely a difference in them. A few comments popping up. What condition is the 280Z in? It's rough. It's been sitting for a lot of years. It's mostly intact, but it's nothing spectacular by any means. It hasn't run in a really long time. I do know that. And that's exactly right. Our trucker buddy Jason just said it's tough on the truck a lot of times as well. And that's true because 9 times out of 10, if I've got a professional transport who shows up and there was a mix-up, it was almost always dispatch. There's sometimes you get truckers who just don't, or not. And I shouldn't even use that term. Hot shots is the better term. If you've got a professional trucker, they've got their stuff together and they'll show up and they'll have tie downs. It's more of the hot shots that are buying a 1-ton dually and a 2 or 3 car trailer and deciding that they're a transport. So, but yeah, and Jason's right. Their dispatch gets a lot of stuff wrong. And that does get both me irritated and the drivers irritated I deal with that an awful lot. So thanks for bringing that up, Jason, as well. That's something else. And just like, and another thing you said, a lot of times they don't give the trucks all the information. We've run into that before too with some of the auction cars that had extra pieces that went with them, and that they didn't let the transports know about. So, like Jason said, don't get them started on dispatchers. But yeah, and we got some comments on YouTube as well. It's the hot shots, and it's not all hot shots. I definitely don't want to categorize them. I just want to break them out separate from our OTR drivers. There's a lot of good hot shots out there, and most of them are legitimate. They have DOT numbers, and they are completely legitimate carriers. And but that's what Grant says. We're having a little audio issue on YouTube, so I apologize if you're having some audio issues on YouTube. But that's everything so far is flowing good on my end. But there's a lot of good hot shots out there. But when you get into some of those hot shots where you're looking for a bargain basement deal, that's typically what you're going to run into. So it's like Dan says, time is money. Small business must charge for it. That's right. It's all got to be factored in. So anyway, that was kind of my topic for the night. Hope that added a little clarity to some of the pricing questions and things like that. And when I go through on a day-to-day and a weekly basis on trying to get this stuff handled for you guys and the people that are working on projects. So that's why I wanted to bring it up, do something a little bit different. And that's what we're all on here about, is we're sharing our tips about the hobby and things like that. So that's what I'm up against. I hope you guys understand that and have a little better understanding of what I'm up against, a little better understanding of what some of our drivers like Jason you can be up against, things like that. Okay, Don, Don called on the 56 F100. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure some of you guys caught the video on that as well. So let's see. Looks like we're caught up on comments at this point. So I guess it's time for some trivia. Anybody ready for some trivia? We'll see if we'll get it. It's kind of tricky tonight. We'll see if anybody catches it. Tonight I've got kind of a plain can, which to me is kind of cool because it is a plain can. What we got tonight is an ATF can, literally. It just says ATF, automatic transmission. Doesn't even have a company on it. Sealed top, cardboard can, which there again, you see these. I was literally working at a truck today, pulling some parts, a couple more cardboard cans in them. They literally just disintegrate. So I'm not opposed at all to saving cardboard cans. And like I said, the fact that this is kind of generic makes it kind of cool. It makes it stand out because it is kind of plain and kind of different. So we're going to get that off to tonight's winner. We'll see what we can come up with. And tonight's question is going to be from the video that I posted Friday night of the Marquette Motorcycle Museum. And that's a little off key for us. I shot 3 videos there, so I've got a couple more posts because we don't do a lot of motorcycle stuff on here. But they got engines, they got wheels. It's pretty cool. They had a bunch of cool scooters we're going to get on the video. They had some cool memorabilia, they had gas pumps, and some cool bicycles, and just a ton of cool motorcycles. So even though it's a little off key from what we typically do on here, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope everybody thought it was neat. So tonight's question is going to come from that video about the Marquette, Kansas Motorcycle Museum. And there was a motorcycle in that video that was manufactured in Minnesota. And they said that original research showed none of them left in existence, but they did find one, and it is in the museum. So I'll keep an eye out on the comments, and we'll see if anybody can remember what that motorcycle was. So, new inventory this week. When the reason I was in Marquette, Kansas, was picking up a car. We did a quick live on location while we were there on a 1970 Chevy Nova just an old four-door, nothing exciting. But four-doors, especially rough, four-doors make great parts cars for two-doors. And it looks like almost the entire front clip is stuck inside of this car. The only thing laying on the front was the hood. But fenders, core support, all that structure is inside the car. So we're going to take that out this week, bring in new inventory video on that, see what all is in that Nova. And I know there's going to be a lot of good pieces there that are definitely going to help save some two-doors. The other stuff we got, like I mentioned, went over to my buddy Mike Schooks at Auto Artistry and got one load of sheet metal that we had done some trading on. Behind his shop, I got another load over there to go get. But there's a lot of cool stuff in there. There's some pickup boxes and a bunch of sheet metal from 41 to 49 International, KB 1 through 5 series trucks, and a bunch of other miscellaneous sheet metal. So we'll bring you a new video on that as well. And I must have stumped everybody on the motorcycle questions. I don't have any popping up yet. If anybody has an answer, it's not telling me. Terry's jumping on there, but that's not the right answer, or not the one I'm looking for. That's the thing. There were so many weird bikes in this deal that there's some weird stuff. This one was made in Minnesota, and I'll give you another hint. It was an unrestored original bike. So we'll see if anybody can get that one, and I'll keep an eye on the comments as we go. But that's what I drug in this week. We'll get you some new inventory videos coming up on that. So that's what some of our new videos this week are going to consist of. Some of that stuff. Also, almost kind of forgot. I've got 5 videos that I shot at a friend of mine, Salvage Yard, here a couple of months ago, and I kind of spaced them off that I have them in my phone until it hit me again today. I'll probably try to post one of those here sometime this week as well. Plus, I got some more of the motorcycle museum stuff. So we'll get. We got all kinds of cool stuff to start putting out here over the next couple of weeks. But this yard that my friend has, it's a really cool place. There's thousands of cars in there, but he doesn't. He's open if he feels like it. He's retired, so he doesn't want me telling everybody where it's at. He said if anybody has questions, they can just call me and I can get with him. But I've got those videos on my phone too that we'll start posting some of those, and here over the next week or two as well. So that's kind of what I've got for tonight. Still not seeing any answers, so I must have stumped everybody on that one. But I'll go ahead and give you the answer unless there's anybody else coming in. I don't remember how good the cluster was on that. That 46 jet that just came in, just that green one. Rico already asked me about that. It's busted. So that cluster isn't any good. James, how many employees do I have? You're looking at it. Me. I do it all. I don't have anybody that works for me. I buy the cars, I haul the cars, I unload the cars, I sort the cars, I pull the parts, I pack the parts, I ship the parts. I do all the digital media. I do all the eBay. I do all the Craigslist. I do all the YouTube. I do all the Facebook. I basically do all of it. I have no employees whatsoever. And there's multiple reasons for that. One being it would be very difficult to hire somebody that knows the difference in a lot of this stuff. Just like we brought up the 41 to 49 International. There are 2 different 41 to 49 International trucks. So they're completely different. If you don't know the difference, then it's hard to teach that to somebody to make them be a productive employee. Casper just jumped on with us on YouTube. Thanks for being here, Casper. Yeah, YouTube has had some audio issues tonight, so I apologize for that. And I don't know why, but it is cooperating very well on that. So Terry said the Jefferson. No, that wasn't the one we were looking for on there, Terry. So thanks for being here, Casper. I'm glad you jumped on with us. Apologize for the audio issues tonight. I lost my train of thought there for a second. But that's kind of what you got. That's what makes it tough. 48 to 53 Chevy trucks, everybody thinks they're all the same. There's a million differences in 48 to 53 Chevy trucks. So it's almost impossible to hire somebody that one is going to be able to know that. And then the other thing you run into is with me being classified as a salvage yard, as far as insurance goes, work comp, things like that are extremely high for this type of business. So, it would be very, one, you have to, just to get somebody that, is dependable, if you show up, is hard to find. Then finding somebody that would have enough knowledge to be productive and be very good at it would be very difficult to find. And then it's very expensive on the insurance side of it and things like that as well. So that's why at this point, I just basically do it all myself, which is why that time thing is such a huge, huge deal. So that also plays into what we were just talking about as far as time. So anyway, you should know that, Jess. Jess wants to know what the chrome piece is behind us. You should know what that one is, Jess. I thought that was pretty obvious. The bullet nose off of a bullet nose Studebaker. Thought it was something kind of different to hang up tonight instead of going out and getting out another sign. Okay, I think Terry got it. I think he's on the right path. That's right, Jason. You're right, Jason. I knew it was Studebaker. I think Terry got it. He's on the right path, so we're going to give it to him. He typed in thin. It's a thim, actually, like a THIEM. I think you're right there, Terry. I think you got it, so we'll go ahead and go with you on that. So, Terry, go ahead and give me a shout when we get done. I can get that to you. So I think you were on the right track. Just may have been a typo on that edge of it. So let's see. We got a few more comments popping up. 57, 8 or 9 or 60 Plymouth Furies. Do not have anything in the two-door, David, on those. The only thing I've got in all 57 to 60 Plymouth is 159 four-door. And James just brought up another point. It kind of goes right along the lines of what I was saying as far as knowing the differences in a lot of these old vehicles. A lot of times, if you don't, some people can end up doing more damage to good parts trying to get one thing off. They damage 3 things that are sellable by trying to get the one part off because they're not familiar with what they're trying to do. So that's another good point. Somebody who wants to work, where do you find them? I don't know. I've never really looked doing this. When I had retail parts stores, I used to own retail parts stores, and those I would have to find employees for, and a lot of that we did word of mouth, maybe a little bit of advertising. For this, I've never even tried. It's just so much more manageable doing it myself, and with me being internet based, I'm not open to the public at all. My gates are locked all the time, whether I'm there or not, and that gives me the flexibility to do what I need to do by doing it myself. Since I don't have regular business hours and I don't have to sit there all day, if I get a call on a car, I can go get it or go look at it or do what I need to do. So that's just gives me the flexibility by being an internet-based business to do that. Joseph, thanks for being here. 69 to 72 Grand Prix. I do not have any complete cars. I've got a few bits and pieces left around. So much I've had over the years, but not a ton of 69 to 72 Grand Prix stuff. So it just depends on what you need and as to whether or not I may have some of that. I don't have a really wide selection on those. So anyway, that's what we've got for tonight. Any other questions or comments here at the end? Go ahead and throw them up there. We will sure try to get to them. And here before we jump off. And as always, thanks for being here, everybody. I really appreciate you spending a few minutes out your evening with me. Having a lot of fun doing this. We've got a great group hanging out on here. We've had some new ones on tonight. Thanks for the new guys that jumped on with us. Please be sure to join us again next week. It's next Sunday night at 7 o'clock, and we'll do it again. Stay tuned for the new videos coming up this week. Like I said, we're going to get some new inventory and another one of the Marquette Motorcycle Museum videos. I think the next one we've got is going to be some gas pumps and scooters. You like old Cushmans, things like that. Even Harley Davidson made little scooters about the size of Cushmans. They had some of those in there. So I think the scooters are going to be the next video. So if you like scooters, stay tuned. We'll have that video coming up this week and some other cool stuff as well. So as always, if anybody has specific questions about vehicles and parts, just give me a call. The numbers on the pages, and I can sure get you on my list and see if I've got anything that I can help you out with. Dan, good information tonight. Thanks, Dan. I'm glad you were here with us. James is signing out. And as always, it's a lot of fun doing this, but without the great group that we've got on here, helping each other out, sharing each other's knowledge, it would be pretty boring. So glad you guys are here with me. Glad you guys took some time out of your evening. Like I always tell you guys, I'm the lucky one that gets to sit here and hang out with you. But you were the guy, all of you people being on here with us is what makes it happen. So thanks for being here. Stay tuned for some cool videos coming up this week. We'll do a Live Toy Tuesday night. And we will see you back here live next Sunday at 7 o'clock. And we'll talk about some more old cars and trucks and memorabilia. So thanks for being here, everybody. Appreciate stopping by tonight. We will see you soon.